Would you be shocked to learn that a single bird can send a message across an entire forest without ever leaving its branch? It sounds impossible. Yet something very strange happens in nature every day. A bird suddenly calls from one tree. A few seconds later, another bird responds from farther away. Then another, and another. Within moments, birds across a large area begin reacting, even though many of them have never seen each other. The question is, how? How does information travel so quickly through a place where there are no phones, no signals, and no visible connection between the birds? Most people never notice this hidden world because it happens quietly above their heads. While we walk through parks, forests, or even our own neighborhoods, birds are constantly sending and receiving information. And some of those messages can travel surprisingly far. Imagine standing in a forest on a calm morning. Everything seems peaceful. Then suddenly a bird lets out a sharp call. Almost instantly, nearby birds become alert. Some stop feeding. Others fly to higher branches. A few disappear completely. What caused such a sudden change? The strange thing is that many of those birds may not have seen the danger for themselves. They simply reacted to a message. And that is where the mystery begins. For a long time, scientists believed bird calls were simple sounds, basic signals with limited meaning. But the more researchers listened, the more fascinating the picture became. Different calls appeared to create different reactions. Some calls attracted attention. Some warned of danger. Others seemed to help birds stay connected with one another. In other words, birds were not just making noise. They were sharing information. Before we go deeper into this hidden language, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and tell me in the comments. Have you ever heard birds suddenly become loud and active for no obvious reason? Because what you're about to discover may completely change the way you hear birds. The next time you listen to a flock calling from tree to tree, you may realize something extraordinary is happening. You may be listening to a conversation that has been taking place for millions of years. And believe it or not, some of those messages are far more detailed than anyone once imagined. But what are birds actually saying to each other? That question puzzled scientists for years. Because if bird calls were only random sounds, then every call should create the same reaction. But that is not what researchers observed. Instead, different calls seem to carry different meanings. Imagine a small bird sitting high in a tree. Suddenly it spots something unusual below. Within seconds, it makes a specific call. Almost immediately, nearby birds react. Some become silent. Others move to safer branches. A few take off completely. What's fascinating is that they respond before seeing the danger themselves. They trust the message. And that suggests something remarkable. Birds are not only speaking, they are listening, very carefully. Scientists have discovered that many bird species use different sounds for different situations. One call may help family members stay together. Another may warn of danger. Some calls even seem to change depending on the type of threat nearby. But here is where things become even more interesting. Birds do not only listen to members of their own species. In many places, different kinds of birds pay attention to one another. Think about that for a moment. A bird may hear a warning from another species and immediately react, even though the message did not come from its own kind. It's almost like multiple species are connected to the same information network. A network hidden in the trees. A network most humans never notice. The more scientists studied this behavior, the more surprising it became. What appeared to be a collection of separate birds slowly started looking like a community sharing important information. And if messages can travel between different birds, another mystery appears. How far can those messages actually go? Because some researchers discovered something that makes this hidden communication system seem far more powerful than anyone expected. So how far can a bird's message really travel? The answer may surprise you. Imagine a bird spots danger at one end of a forest. It gives a warning call. Birds nearby hear it and react. Then those birds become alert as well. A moment later, birds even farther away begin responding. Like a wave moving across water, the message starts spreading from tree to tree. What's amazing is that many of the birds reacting may never have seen the original danger at all. They are responding to information passed through the network. And this is where things become truly fascinating. Researchers have observed situations where birds appeared to know something was wrong long before the threat reached their area. By listening to the reactions of other birds, they gained valuable time to prepare. In nature, a few extra seconds can mean everything. A few extra seconds can save a life. That is why listening is just as important as speaking. But there is another detail that makes this hidden system even more remarkable. Not every bird reacts the same way. Some birds become silent. Some fly higher into the trees. Others gather together and begin watching carefully, almost as if each bird has a different role to play. The forest may seem quiet to us, but in reality it is full of information moving in every direction. Calls, warnings, responses, messages traveling between branches, trees, and flocks. And most people walk right beneath it without noticing. But perhaps the biggest mystery is not how birds send these messages. It is how they know which messages matter. Because among thousands of sounds in nature, birds somehow separate important information from everything else. And what happens when all of those messages come together may be the most surprising part of this story. But perhaps the most fascinating part of this mystery is not how birds send messages. It is how easily humans miss them. Every day, countless conversations take place above our heads. A bird warns another about danger. A flock shares information about safety. Messages move from branch to branch, tree to tree, and sometimes across an entire area without a single human realizing it is happening. To us, it sounds like random chirping. To the birds, it could mean the difference between safety and danger. And that changes the way we see the natural world. Because the forest is not silent at all. It is alive with information. Imagine standing beneath a group of trees. Everything appears peaceful. The leaves move gently in the wind. Birds call from different directions. Nothing seems unusual. Yet hidden within those sounds may be warnings, updates, and signals being passed between birds that cannot even see one another. The more scientists learn about bird communication, the more remarkable it becomes. What once seemed like simple noise is revealing a hidden network built on listening, memory, and survival. And maybe that is why birds have fascinated people for thousands of years. They remind us that nature often contains far more than we first notice. The greatest mysteries are not always hidden in distant places. Sometimes they are happening right outside our window. The next time you hear birds calling from tree to tree, stop for a moment and listen. Ask yourself a simple question. What message is being shared right now? You may never know the exact answer, but knowing that a secret conversation could be unfolding above you makes the world feel a little more mysterious. Before you go, tell me in the comments. If you could understand one bird message, what would you want it to say? And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more amazing bird mysteries. Until next time, keep your eyes open and your ears listening.